So what do I think about the new M.A.R.S system, dude? Honestly, it is freaking amazing. It is really great. It is really good. My first impressions of my first day kind of experimenting with it. Wasn't able to, get on until later, so I was kind of late to the party, but we did spend some time with it a few hours before the service went down for the emergency maintenance. If y'all went around for that, then there was emergency maintenance that did happen for a 3 hour period. Wasn't too big of a deal. It was definitely out of the blue. Usually they give like a 25-minute notice or something like that. This one was 10 minutes. Yo, 10 minutes. Server's going down, bro. You out, you out, you out. But before that, we were able to kind of go into the M.A.R.S system and play around with it. And it was pretty darn fun. Uh, of course, there's always guides and stuff that you can watch for this in terms of making, the gear that you want, the M.A.R.S systems that you want. But, I kind of prefer to just go into it, figure it out myself. I would recommend the same for you because these are all so different. They all play so differently. And depending on what class you play or how you play, if you're aggressive or if you're trying to counteract or what boss you're fighting or just a general purpose of things, you may want this or that or so and so. So this element in itself right here makes this very, very, very appealing because it adds this genuine MMO element of it's how you want to create it. This is absolutely beautiful because of that. And I very much have been enjoying it. The other thing is that this takes forever to really comprehend. This I very much love because it's new. It's something that I have to rack my head over. I have to kind of figure out how to implement these different plays into it. And that is fun. That is a whole new element. So we did run, we ran some purples, we ran Solus R2, and I was trying to, kind of really get comfortable with it, right? And I struggled to do so. There are certain aspects of it, such as being in the air and sidestepping while staying in the air, on the melee ones, the scythe one, that were uncomfortable for me. And that's good. I want that. I want it to be uncomfortable for me. I want that lane to travel down to have to learn. But these M.A.R.S are super, super good, and they really, really expand what the play styles will look like and can be like for anyone and everyone. Everything can be accessed here from this M.A.R.S skill menu, and you can easily just go into this. You can learn skills using M.A.R.S updaters, which drop from PSE farming, by the way, or urgent quests. Those are kind of your best ways to do it because PSE farming is very beneficial right now because of Grand Drake Keeper 2s as well. You need the stat 5s. So it's really great. And honestly, these weren't that bad of drops. I had a 100% booster on, and I think I got 4 M.A.R.S updaters in the span of like an hour or maybe less or something like that. It was right before the maintenance went down. So I had 4 in my inventory. I knew I had 0. So the drop weight isn't that bad. So it's probably not that unrealistic to max these out. If you really wanted to grind these, you can max these out probably within a week. If you really wanted to, just by PSE farming. And right now, PSE farming is very, very, very alive. Of course, there's other ways you can do triggers to get M.A.R.S updaters, but that's neither here nor there. I did want to take a special moment out to pause this so that way you are sure that you are hearing this. But for the M.A.R.S updaters, once you reach 50, then it requires 2 updaters to get to 100. So once you reach 50 skill points, the 51st skill point will now require 2 M.A.R.S updaters. Once you reach 101, now it requires 3 M.A.R.S updaters. So from 101 skill points to 150, it will be 3 M.A.R.S updaters per skill point. So this actually makes sense because obviously we see M.A.R.S updaters drop fairly easily. So now this makes a lot more sense. I was kind of worried about that actually because I was like, well, dude, they drop so easily. I feel like this is kind of it's going to be way too easy to complete this. And then feels like you're not really chasing towards anything. Like it's really, really short lived. So 1 to 50 is 1, 51 to 100 is 2, and then 101 to 150 is 3. So keep that in mind. I wanted to make sure I pause this out and really drill that to y'all so y'all knew. This is kind of a first impression. This isn't a breakdown. Plus, there's a lot of breakdowns, but we'll give a breakdown eventually. But this is kind of first impression. Of course, one thing that you will notice on the skill tree while you're on here is that it's hard to tell what exactly it's going to look like until you get these skills leveled up. Because, dude, that's a lot of potency. That's a lot of crit rate up. That's a lot of crit hit potency up. That's a lot. So until these are actually all maxed out stats, it's really hard to tell just how strong these things are going to be. But these things are strong. And the implementation that you have with them is very nice, very fun, feels very fluid. Now, there are some issues here that
you
you will notice pretty much immediately for the classes involved. Namely, like Ranger. If you're on Ranger and you use Weak Bullet, well, you have to reapply Weak Bullet. So this creates kind of an issue for Weak Bullet for Rangers to really enjoy this in the same way. This is also applied to Gunner as well. Gunner's whole playstyle is focused on maintaining your chain count trigger. I can't remember what the name of it is. I'm a Gunner main. But it's focused on maintaining that the whole time. However, when you're in your Mars unit, there's no way to really keep that going without getting out of your Mars unit. So there's certain things there that can be less desirable for certain classes, of course. So that's not the best thing there. However, do keep in mind that you can enter and exit Mars whenever you want to, but still, having to okay, enter, then you only have a certain amount of time before the weak bullet goes off, so you have to make sure you exit and put it back on, and it's you may as well just stay out of it, right? In that regard. So those things like that are kind of deterring for certain classes, but only certain classes will experience that. And you know, you can get around it by, well, I mean, you can't really get around it for Gunner. Like you have to keep your train trigger. So I mean, you could get around it in a sense by using different tech arts, because there is a tech art for the little spin attack that makes it quicker, which will in turn just it will give you more hits, so you can easily get your bar back quicker to 100%. So I mean, there are ways that you can work around it. There are options that you can work around, but I feel like they're probably unnecessary or as over the top options that shouldn't exist there in the first place. But those are kind of the main ones there that you might kind of immediately kind of notice right off the bat. But overall, the M.A.R.S system is very fun, very great. I love that there's a skill tree for it that you can just mess around with, that there's different types, that there's so many different combinations to go with it, because it really adds a layer of gameplay that is so fun and so desirable. And it really adds a layer that is just like, okay, make this my own. Let's see how we want to play with it, and let's go have fun with it. It's really good for the game. I really love it. And my input on it is pretty highly right now. I'm very curious though how strong these things are going to be once I have all these skills leveled up, because that's probably going to be pretty interesting. And so if you want to try and test this out, you can just open up the menu, go to the limited time quests, right? So start the quests, and you can go in here and you can test things out in here. You just click these things, it gives you your energy, and then you can activate your M.A.R.S. Your sub palette. It's a sub palette item, so make sure you put it on your sub palette, otherwise you won't be able to use it. But you can activate it there, and you can try things out here. However, I realized very quickly this is not really a best place to try out, because it's much better to try on live targets, because a lot of the options are kind of applied towards live targets, right? So it's better to say, let's be honest, real combat is always better than the training exercise, right? Like real combat experiences is always going to teach you more, make you more comfortable, or expose you to situations than the training exercise is going to expose you to, right? So it's the same thing here. But ultimately, this is a great place to come and try to get comfortable with which design you want to use, which M.A.R.S system layout you want to use. So do be sure to utilize this if you haven't already. I'm sure a lot of you have already messed with this, but I'm sure a lot of you also would like to hear my input for it. So this is why we're making this input video on my first impressions of it. So ultimately, I believe that this thing is very good, very fun. I'm looking forward to utilizing it and seeing some bosses that come out that really like require you to utilize this as well. I think it's gonna be pretty good. So that'd be my input. I give it a fairly high score. I'm not gonna give it an actual like ranking because I don't want to hastily do so. But it's definitely 7 up right now. First impressions, it's probably an 8 or something like that. Probably 8 or a 9 or something like that. First impressions. So maybe that can change to a 7 in a week or something like that. Who knows? But it's definitely not going to go under a 5. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the complexity of it. I enjoy the want and the need to have to grind for a skill tree. I enjoy the M.A.R.S updaters so that you have to grind for that. It prolongs it and it gives you something to work towards, which is good. Having something to work towards and you can visually see it is good. Always good. So that's that. Be sure to like and subscribe. I will see you on the next one. Much love. Let me know down below what you think about M.A.R.S in the comments. So always down for a discussion. See you on the next one. Spike content.